Did we learn anything new? Was there much news in this news conference?
No, I mean, the chairman repeated a couple of stats that, frankly, U.S. Central Command put out yesterday, a number of more than 11,000 targets the U.S. has struck. They've hit more than 150 Iranian naval ships. They're continuing to go after ballistic missile and drone capabilities, the conventional sort of forces of the Iranian military. We did hear a couple of things in the opening statement from the Secretary of Defense saying that the U.S. took about 200 dynamic strikes last night. That means that those are not pre-planned strikes. They kind of go out, they're flying over, maybe they've been on a bombing run for something and another target pops up, they get approval and they strike. I will say the U.S. has been taking hundreds of strikes every single day, so we have no scale or scope to know if the dynamic strikes, if that is an increase, a decrease, or what from the beginning of the war. One other thing that the Secretary said is that the last 24 hours have seen the lowest number of Iranian missile fires. I did a quick search of that. I'm not sure what 24 hours he's referring to, but if it's literally the last 24 hours from 8 a.m. Eastern time until today, that's not true. There was a stretch about 10 days ago where where Iran fired fewer ballistic missiles in a 24 hours than they have in the last 24. So unfortunately, not a whole lot more detail. They declined to talk about some of the biggest issues that we've been discussing here and we've been discussing for days now, and that is, could the U.S. be involved in some sort of a military effort in the Strait of Hormuz? The Secretary having some disparaging comments for some U.S. allies, including some allies the U.S. has fought closely with in recent years in dangerous combat zones, saying that they needed to step up and do more in the Strait of Hormuz. And we did not get any fidelity at all about the possibility of U.S. troops being involved on the ground somewhere in Iran in some capacity, Joe.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.